Tonight, the spotlight is on a Minnesota law that gives a second chance to juveniles sentenced to life in prison. It comes as David Brom, convicted of killing his family with an axe when he was 16, is set to be released from prison later this month. Raya Katena is here with more on the implications of this law. Raya?
Lou, the law does not guarantee anyone's release, but it does provide a chance for people in prison to testify before a board about how they've changed and possibly get released on parole. Some of the things taken into consideration are the person's behavior in prison, psychological evaluations, and statements from victims.
We are seeking another member of the family. It's age 16.
In less than 2 weeks, a Rochester man who murdered his parents and 2 siblings with an axe as a teenager will be released to a halfway house in the Twin Cities after serving almost 40 years in prison.
Mr. Brom is eligible to be considered for parole.
The research is actually pretty remarkable that very few folks who were sentenced as children and who have served decades in prison are going to reoffend.
Rachel Moran is a professor and founder of the Criminal and Juvenile Defense Clinic at the University of St. Thomas School of Law. Moran, who has no affiliation with David Brom's case, explains that his release is made possible by a state law enacted 2 years ago.
At first, that chance either didn't exist at all or would not have existed for many, many decades.
The law requires a special board to review cases of people who were sentenced as juveniles to life in prison.
37 years and you've had one violation.
The board, which formed in 2024, considers those who've served 15 or more years for possible release.
I think it's really important to be able to assess how someone has changed, especially someone who may have been 15, 16, 17. When they're in their 30s or 40s or 50s, they're likely to be a really different person.
Data from the Minnesota Department of Corrections shows last year, 23 people convicted of murder as juveniles had a hearing under the new law. 19 of them were denied but can try again. 4 of them were granted parole.
I hope that some of these folks get out and can show that they're ready to contribute to society in ways they've been wanting to do for many years and haven't had the chance.
Minnesota is one of 28 states to have such a law, and according to data from the Minnesota Department of Corrections, there is a backlog of cases to which those new eligibility rules have been applied, and they anticipate they'll be working through that backlog through early next year, Lou.
And Raya, who makes up this board that makes these decisions?
Well, there are 7 members total. One of them is the commissioner within the Department of Corrections, and the others are appointed by the governor. Some of them are recommended by House and Senate leaders, and the others have specialty backgrounds in youth development and psychology, Lou.
All right. Thanks so much, Raya.